Hi, this is Trey Pastor, and welcome. This is a video response. Um, three great fellow YouTubers, DVD Collector 1974, The Joker 5150, and Movie Collector 666. They do a top 10 video series every Tuesday. They do a top 10 list of favorite actors, actresses, and everything. And this week, they did a top 10 favorite action movies. So I watched two of them today. I got to watch Movie Collector 666's one video, but I decided I want to do a video response because I also saw Ball Eaton do a video response as well. So I'm going to do a video as well of my top 10 action movies, and I'm being lazy. I'm not going to, and these movies that I have in my list, the 10 that I have in my list, I have all of them except one of them, number 10 in fact. But I'm just being too lazy to go grab them and to show them, so I'll show pictures of them, I guess, in the video. Okay. I came up with a list first. I came up with the list, and then I decided to rank them afterwards. Okay, so let me do my list so this video doesn't drag out. Okay, my top 10 favorite action movies, and like I said, I will have a few honorable mentions I'll save for the end. But anyway, my top 10 favorite action movies. Number 10, Tombstone. That's the one with Val Kilmer and Kurt Russell. The Wyatt Earp story. I absolutely love that movie. Val Kilmer plays Doc Holliday. It's about the the shootout at the OK Corral, and Kurt Russell is great. And I absolutely loved him in this movie, but I especially love Val Kilmer in this movie. He is absolutely fantastic in this movie, playing Doc Holliday, of course, who was sick, but he was such a. And what was that line he always said in this movie? I could be your Huckleberry. And I love the action and the showdown and the shootout at the end, and it's just a great movie. And one of my favorite parts of that movie is when Kurt Russell takes the spur and basically cuts guys on the face. And you go tell him I'm coming, and I'm bringing hell with me. You run. You go tell him I'm coming, and I'm bringing hell with me. And I think Michael Biehn was one of the bad guys in that, and got the other guys that were. I think Powers Booth too was one of the bad guys. But the Tombstone is just a great action movie. I absolutely love that story. There's been a lot of movies about the shootout at the OK Corral, Doc Holliday and Wyatt Earp. There's been just a lot of movies about that, but this movie, Tombstone, I absolutely love that movie. Great action movie. And again, Val Kilmer was absolutely great as Doc Holliday, and Kurt Russell was great as Wyatt Earp. Anyway, number 9 on my list is Man on Fire. That's the movie, of course, with Denzel Washington, and I absolutely love that movie. It basically is about a guy who's burnt out. He basically has no will to live. He goes down to Mexico, hooks up with his friend Christopher Walken, and basically he becomes a bodyguard for little Dakota Fanning. And of course, she basically instills in him, because like I said, he's burnt out, basically doesn't have a will to live, but she basically awakens, I guess, his humanity, and basically gives him a purpose. And she makes him smile. And of course, Mexico was famous for the kidnappings, and they kidnapped, little Peter, and of course he goes into total kick-ass mode because that's what he does. Gracie, I think his name is Gracie. And he just goes in total kick-ass mode and basically goes on a one-man wrecking crew to find out. And I think and Christopher Walken gives a great line. I think he's talking to Giancarlo Esposito, who plays a cop in there, and he basically tells him to step out of step out of his way. Let him, do what he does, because he'll find more justice than any courts could do in 1,000 years. And then he says that man could be, and then he has a great line where he says, "Man could be an artist in anything. Food, wine. Gracie's art is death, and he's about to create his masterpiece." And just the way Christopher Walken says that line. And then you go see Denzel Washington goes total kick-ass, just basically obliterating these people that were involved with the kidnapping, and it's just fantastic to see. Man on Fire, I absolutely love that movie. It's one of my absolute favorite Denzel Washington movies, Man on Fire, and a great action movie. Okay, number 8, Speed. I love that movie. Keanu Reeves, Dennis Hopper, Sandra Bullock. Basically about guy who puts a bomb on a bus, and the bus can't go below, was it 50 miles per hour or 60? I forget what it is, but it can't go below a certain. He's basically holding the city hostage, and basically, Keanu Reeves is the SWAT member, and he gets put on the bus, and basically has to basically make sure the bus keeps going. And it's a great movie, and Dennis Hopper's a great bad guy. And what's the line he says in that movie? Don't try to be a hero. Don't try to grow a brain. And it's just a great action movie. Speed. This is a great kick-ass action movie. Keanu Reeves was absolutely fantastic in this movie. And I don't even count the sequel because it was absolutely horrible and it should have never been made. Okay. Okay, number 7. Rambo 2. Now, First Blood was great. Don't get me wrong. That was a great movie and a great drama. But I love Part 2 because, they go to see, and hold on a minute. I'm going to do one thing. Hold on. I have that right there, so I'll just grab it real quick. And there's Stallone right there. Absolutely love him as Rambo. Anyway, but in this one, of course, the movie begins with him in prison, of course, because of the events of First Blood. He's in prison breaking rocks. And, of course, Colonel Trapman, Richard Crenna, the great late Richard Crenna, comes to him and basically tells him, listen, there's a mission for you, a possible pardon if you do this thing. He said, do we get a chance to win? Do we get a chance to win this time? And, of course, Stallone basically has to go back with a team to, I forget what country it was, but he goes back to basically rescue these guys. But it's basically they set him up in the movie and basically leave him out there hanging dry, and basically Stallone just basically kicks total ass with those. I love him with the bow and arrow, just kicking ass, and they beats up the Russian, and just comes back and tells Trotman, not Trotman, I forgot the bad guy's name, but he basically grabs the mic just before he gets ready to kick ass, goes, I'm coming for you. And then I absolutely love Stallone in Rambo 2. Just absolutely fantastic. Okay, now, that was number 7. Number 6, The Matrix. Who could not love The Matrix? Keanu Reeves basically being awakened, and of course, him, Trinity, and just total kick at Lawrence Fishburne, Carrie Ann Moss, that was her name, yeah, that's her name, and Keanu Reeves, and what's my man's name? I can't remember his name. The English guy that played Mr. Smith. Damn, I can't remember. I'm drawing a blank on his name. Who was just total kick-ass. And the first Matrix movie was the best. Just a total kick-ass movie. Keanu Reeves doing karate. Just total kick. And the whole premise of the movie was fantastic, and the action absolutely stunning. Okay, that's why I love the Matrix, the original Matrix. Okay, not the 2 sequels, which were like lesser movies. But anyway, the 6 would be The Matrix, my action flick. Okay, number 5 would be X2. X-Men or X-Men 2. Because great action movie. Basically, I call this movie X-Men. The X-Men go out into the world, basically. Basically, because in the beginning of the movie you have Nightcrawler, a controlled Nightcrawler, basically had a great opening scene where he attacks the White House, and basically almost comes within this much of killing the president. And that one of the best opening scenes of any movie ever. And then from there it keeps going and going. The mansion is invaded. Okay, Professor X and Cyclops, while visiting Magneto, they get jumped. Okay, and then the X-Men have to come together with the villains, with Magneto, and what I'm doing? And I'm drawing a blank on names. I'm sorry. And Mystique have to join up with them to rescue, find their fellow X-Men and stuff. And it's fantastic. Oh my God! And then Wolverine fight with Deathstrike. Cyclops fighting Jean Grey. Just the great fight, the action, all of it is just fantastic. That's why I love X-Men 2. Is just like one of the perfect action movies, one of the best out of the series, in my opinion. Now, number 4, of course, would be Die Hard. The first one, the original. I'm talking about the original with Alan Rickman, who makes a great bad guy. Bruce Willis, all the great lines, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker, yippee-ki-yay, just all the lines and the jumping out, and Reginald Van Johnson helping him, the cop, and Bruce Willis just causing mayhem. Okay, it's just the first, and forget the other line. Welcome to the party. And then number 3 on my list would be The Crow, the one, of course, with the late Brandon Lee. Great movie about a guy who basically him and his fiance get murdered on their wedding day, and he comes back. The spirit of the crow brings him back to get revenge, and boy, does he get revenge! And oh my God, great Brandon Lee has such charisma, and it's truly a shame what happened to him, because you can see the star potential with him in that movie, The Crow. He's just fantastic in this movie, going about getting his revenge. It's just a great action movie, getting creative, getting his revenge against all the guys who basically murdered him and his fiance. And I absolutely love The Crow. It's just one of my absolute favorite action movies of all time. And okay, number 2 and 1 are actually by the same director, but I had to pick 1, 2, and 1 number 1, and I debated about this for a little while. But I actually watched number 2 actually on Friday. No, Thursday. I'm sorry, Thursday. I watched this number 2 movie I want to say on my list on Thursday night. I watched it. It's part of my film series reviews. So I'll be doing that review of this movie Sunday, tomorrow. You'll see my review of this movie. Anyway, what I'm talking about is James Cameron's Aliens. Of course, the sequel to the original 1979 Alien. And James Cameron totally upped the ante in this movie. Okay, Space Marines versus the Xenomorphs, and plus kick-ass Ripley. And then you got the Space Marines, you got the Weasley execs, and more Xenomorphs in this movie than in the first movie. And the action just is like non-stop. And Sigourney Weaver really cements her legacy as a total action star. She was so kick-ass in this movie. And what I loved about her in this movie is that, like I said, in the beginning of the movie, when she first gets awakened, and you can tell she's still having nightmares about the alien and her experience through it, but she pushes through, because she figures, because at first she totally doesn't want to go when they suggest, the colony where the ship was above you haven't heard from him, and they ask her to come back as a consultant. She basically turns him down, but then she has another nightmare, and then she calls him back and says, "Yeah, I'll go," and we're going just to destroy, right? Not to capture, not to, and they basically, of course, this is a spoiler. She gets lied to, of course, but she goes ahead and goes along, of course, because she's going with the Space Marines, and she figures this way to end the nightmares, and maybe she could sleep better and be a whole person again. And then, of course, things go horribly wrong, but then she steps up to the plate when she meets this little girl named Newt and becomes protective of her, and she just turns into a total kick-ass character in this movie. I absolutely love Sigourney Weaver. Ripley is one of the favorite action stars ever, and this great action movie. James Cameron is the man for this one. And of course, another movie that he did, and it's my number 1 movie on my list, would be Terminator II. Arnold, and for obvious reasons, besides my boys there, but just because, like I said, his first movie, Terminator, was, excuse me, I'm sorry, my voice went. The first movie, Terminator, was great, of course, low budget, but this movie, Terminator 2, totally upped the ante in this one. Okay, you got a total kick-ass, you got a kick-ass Linda Hamilton coming back as Sarah Connor, who you see is basically transformed herself while she's been captured in a mental, basically hiding herself in a mental hospital. Okay, and her son, who's turned into a total delinquent, of course, misses his mother and wants to rescue her. And then you have the Terminator that you think from the first movie is coming back, and then of course he turns out to be a good Terminator that's actually been sent back by John Connor to protect him. Okay, and it's great. And then of course you have the T-1000, I think, right? Yeah, the T-1000 played by Robert Patrick, who's a kick-ass Terminator who's back there to kill John Connor at all costs. And of course he has to fight Arnold, and such great action scenes in this movie. Oh, Linda Hamilton kicks ass, Arnold kicks ass, Robert Patrick kicks ass, and such great actions. This movie is balls to the wall action. And oh, James Cameron, you were the man. If you never did any movie besides this movie, you'd still be a legend in my book. Because Terminator 2, just a total kick-ass movie, and I have so many different versions of it. Okay, and I just absolutely love the Terminator films, and of course because of course my boy over there. Okay, yeah, but I absolutely love the Terminator movies. But T2 is my #1 favorite action movie. Just Arnold kicking ass, Linda Hamilton kicking ass, Robert Patrick kicking ass, and the whole movie itself kicking ass. Just fantastic. So that's my top 10 favorite action movies. Okay, so hopefully let me know what yours are. Feel free to leave comments down below. And again, I want to say thank you to DVD Collector 1974, to the Joker 5150, and Movie Collector 666 for coming up with these top 10 lists. I try to watch them every week. If I don't watch them on Tuesday when you put them up, on the weekend when I get a chance to watch more videos, I definitely watch them. So again, please, guys, check out. I'll leave links to their channels in the box below, so you can click on their videos, sub to them, and watch their top 10 lists every Tuesday. They do great. They've done actors, actresses, Disney movies, I think so far, and I think this week, of course, was top 10 action movies. They, three great guys, and definitely check out their videos. Okay, again, I'll leave a link to their channels in the box below, and please sub to all three of them, and they make great videos other than that, besides these top 10 lists. Okay, so again, let me know what you think of my top 10 list. Feel free to leave comments down below. This is Trey Pastor saying so long and take care. Alright, I forgot my honorable mentions. I'm back. I forgot my honorable mentions. Okay, a few. I got a few. Commando. I love that movie. Arnold Schwarzenegger getting revenge. Finding his daughter, his kidnapped daughter, and getting revenge. Love that movie. Love Conan the Barbarian, of course. Remember going to see that in the theater when it came out. Love that movie. Silverado. That's a western with Kevin Costner, Scott Glenn, Danny Glover, and a young Kevin Costner's in that. So Scott Glenn, Kevin Costner, Kevin Kline. That's what I meant to say. Those four guys teaming up to fight corruption in the West. Of course, and of course, Dirty Harry, Clint Eastwood. Love those Dirty Harry movies. And what else? I'm trying to think, because off the top of my head, action movie. Oh yeah, Full Metal Jacket. Love that movie. Oh yeah, Sin City. Love that one too as well. Oh yeah, and I forgot this one. The Dark Knight. It's a comic book movie, but it's played more like a drama, but it has great action in it as well. Okay, so those are my honorable mentions. Okay, so I'll just stick this on to the end of the video. Okay, so long.